Morning everyone, my name is Hari. I'm gonna continue this presentation with cluster analysis, pre-processing of the data and its characteristics. So let's start with cluster analysis. So cluster analysis is task of grouping a set of objects in such a way that objects in the same group are more similar to each other than to that of other groups. So with this cluster analysis, the intra-cluster distances are minimized and inter-cluster distance are also maximized. So cluster analysis mainly uses central-based clustering method. Using that central-based clustering method, we define how many clusters we are going to use in this algorithm. So K-means algorithm mainly uses one of the common clustering method. So in this case, central-based clustering, K is the number of clusters and the main parameter of the algorithm. So the idea behind the algorithm is to find the number of centroids followed by the K sets of points which are grouped together based on the density of the centroid, such that the distance of all the points in the clusters the centroids are minimized. So this central clustering is one of the common methodologies that are used. So in this methodology, we choose the number of clusters that we need. If we want to divide two different colors over here, so we need to determine the centroid first. So let us assume these hexagons are the data points, and these circles are the centroids that we are choosing based on the density of the data points. So I can put one centroid over here and another centroid over here. So let us determine how many data points are nearer to this centroid and also to this centroid. So based on the distance between the data point and the centroid, I'm classifying these data points into two different clusters and draw a single line. This is called a marginal line. So now we have two different clusters over here. So using central-based clustering, we can transform this unlabeled data to labeled clusters using the centroids and dividing all those data points into different clusters. Now let us discuss about pre-processing of data. So data pre-processing or data preparation is one of the data mining techniques that transforms raw data into an understandable format for these algorithms. So in the real world data, it is usually noisy, which contains errors, outliers, and duplicates, or some kind of incomplete data. It also could be stored in different places and different formats. So the main task of data pre-processing is to handle these issues. The main issues are normalization. So we may have too many attributes to process, so we need to normalize attributes into minimum number of attributes, and we also need to eliminate the outliers from the data. And we also may have different kinds of data like binary, decimal. So we need to define the conversion, which is one of the important pre-processing techniques. The next one is the characteristics of data. So it is also one of the other factors that we need to consider before processing the algorithm. So the first one is the type of the proximity or the density measure. So the proximity is nothing but the density measure. So here we are considering the distance between centroid and the data point. So which is one of the characteristics of the data. And the other one is the noise and outliers. So we need to eliminate these incorrect data and objects which are extremely rare compared to others. And another is the type of distribution. Here the distribution over the data is uniform. So it is one of the characteristics of the data. And the other characteristic is the sparseness. So how dense the objects are in the space. So we can see that here the objects are less located less sparsely located, and whereas in this cluster, the density of the objects is very high. And another kind of characteristics is the attribute type. So the data type can be numerical, categorical, and short, medium, and tall. And also the type of data. So some attribute values may have larger than others and creating greater displacement when mapped in space. So it is one of the important characteristics of data. Thank you.